Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our board meeting. And if we could have a roll call, please, Mr. Weber.
Mr. Demakia?
Yes.
Mr. Fallis?
Present.
Mr. Smith?
Present.
Mr. Sturgill?
Here.
Mr. Williams?
Here. Pledge of allegiance, please.
Good evening, Mr. Williams, board members, Dr. Branham, and Mr. Weber. Tonight we have brothers Celestino, a first grader, and Pablo Oquendo II, a third grader, from Stephen DeHanas to lead us in the pledge tonight. Celestino and Pablo are the sons of LaValle Ritchie and Pablo Oquendo and have one sister, Hesman Pinka, who graduated from Southview High School. Both boys are in chess, spelling, and dance club at DeHanas. They have been on the honor roll for all 3 quarters. They also participate in karate outside of school. After the pledge, the boys will speak on being a productive school citizen. Mrs. Tracy Carpenter, the principal of Stephen DeHanas Elementary School, is here tonight to support her students. Boys, come right up.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Citizenship. What is citizenship? Being a good citizen means being a good person. To be a good person, you need to follow the rules, obey all laws, help those in need, and respect everyone around you. You have to give in order to receive. I know, treat people how you like to be treated. Everyone has feelings, and if you're happy, people around us will be happy too. And we will all have a better day. Little actions built up can make a big difference.
Fantastic job. Let's give them a round of applause again. And Celestino and Pablo.
Way to go.
And will the parent of Celestino and Pablo, Mrs. LaValle Ritchie, please stand? Thank you.
Recognition of any visitors. Let's move on. We need a motion for the approval of the minutes for March 29th, 2012, and special board meeting held on Friday, March 30th, 2012.
Motion to approve. Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Demakia?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes. Old business? Under old business, I would like to bring up a item for recommendation. I don't know if we have it in the, this was as it relates to the Bond Oversight Committee. Bond Oversight Committee. There was a list of names that had the past members who had agreed to be a part of that organization again. And there were 3 names of individuals who were not going to be on. We will replace those, but the motion would be to engage those individuals on that committee who had previously been active, and that will resume its normal activity, and we will then reconstitute it and add on members at future meetings. It's important that that organization is still meeting. There are some things that are pending that they need to do, and we don't want to delay them and cause them any inconvenience and have it inadvertently affect our project moving forward. So if I could have a motion to engage the Bond Oversight Committee.
I move that the present membership of the Bond Oversight Committee, who have indicated the desire to continue in that role, be placed on the Bond Oversight Committee for calendar year 2012.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
Mr. Demakia?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes. Hearing of the public. Since there are no takers, moving forward, report and recommendations of the treasurer. I'm sorry?
Too bad.
Please come forward. Yes, yes. Come right to the center, please, Mr. Wood. Yeah, they'll have one for you. Then afterwards, you can, of course, we know who you are and all your information, but there's a place to write over there.
Okay. My name is David Wood, and I'm president of the LEA. I'm speaking on behalf of teachers. Circumstances have placed us all in difficult positions. Governor Kasich and like-minded lawmakers have slashed education so drastically that we are here to save public education. I once knew a teacher who became a Board of Education member, and I asked him what was the main thing board members just don't understand. What don't they just get about education? Carl Cicerola said, they don't get that teachers are the most important people in the district, that administration matters little, that education happens in the classroom, not in the principal's or director's office or in the halls of Charleston. I have 3 points to make about the board's impending decision. These cuts are unfair, unbalanced, and unafraid to cut teachers. Unfair, 182 to 0. 182 employees to 0 administrators. While that figure is slightly inaccurate, it is the perception of many teachers and community members. 182 to 0. Slightly inaccurate, but reality in the minds of those who matter most, teachers and voters. As the longest-serving member of the Levy Committee, I can forcefully say that voters listen to teachers, and teachers are saying unfair, 182 to 0. Unbalanced. These cuts are unbalanced. The budget woes were disproportionately placed on the backs of teachers. 1 out of 5 teachers were cut. Walk down the hallway, 1, 2, 3, 4, gone. 1, 2, 3, 4, gone. 1, 2, 3, 4, gone. That is what happened in Lorain schools last Friday. Did that happen elsewhere? Did that cut ratio happen in Charleston? With those cuts, there are about 400 teachers for around 7,500 students. Is all this administration really necessary to supervise 400 teachers? Unafraid to make deep cuts for those who directly help students, but seemingly unafraid to make cuts elsewhere. A few months ago, I asked the board to show extraordinary leadership. These round of cuts show the most ordinary and arcane type of leadership. Cut the workforce. It is old boss thinking. Budget problems? Solution. Cut the teachers. Make a few nicks elsewhere, but balance the budget on the backs of teachers. Those who do the most were cut the most. These cuts are unfair, 182 to 0. Unbalanced. Those who do the most were cut the most. Unafraid to cut teachers, but seemingly afraid to cut elsewhere. Extraordinary leadership means fair reductions, means ending up with a teacher-student-administrator ratio that makes sense. Not too many administrators for too few teachers, having too many students. Unafraid to make the right choices. Give the voters a reason to vote yes for a levy, a fair plan that is easy to explain because it makes sense. The LEA stands ready to work side by side to resolve these problems. So far, we really haven't been asked. We need to balance the budget in a way that invests in our future. Lastly, I wish to remind all that Governor Kasich and his like-minded lawmakers have placed very good people, the Board of Education, administrators, and teachers in very difficult positions as we all struggle to save public education. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any others? This time we'll have the report and recommendations of the treasurer. Can you all hear me out there? I can hear everybody else, but not me.
Try the green, yeah.
It's on. I see the light.
Turn his on.
Just me up a little bit, little bit. Hey, hi, everybody. We will now have the report and recommendations of the treasurer.
Okay, there's a bid tabulation from Washington Middle School site package that you all have in your packet, and treasurer needs to read the bid. The lowest responsible bidder for the Washington Middle School site package was M.J. Griffith Paving Incorporated. The base bid was $197,724. The alternate number one bid was $32,977. The base plus alternate was $230,701. Okay. I have 8 items on my docket tonight. Items 1 through 5 are, actually 1 through 6 are fairly routine. Item 1 was the approval of the March 2012 financial reports. Item 2 was the purchase orders needing board approval. Item 3 is the annual resolution accepting the rates as determined by the Lorain County Auditor. Item 4 is the OSBA service agreement for the Superintendent Search Committee. Item 5 is donations. Item 6 is the correction of the March 8th, 2012 minutes. And I will get into, I would like to propose that we approve items 1 through 4 separately, item 6 separately, and then get into item 7 and 8.
Motion to approve items 1 through 4.
Support.
Discussion?
I didn't hear, what was the motion?
Motion was to approve
Items 1 through 4.
1 through 5.
No, it was 1 through 4.
You said 1 through 4.
I said 1 through 4? Okay. Let me retract. I meant to say items 1 through 5. I apologize.
And you have to amend the motion.
Motion to approve items 1 through 5.
Support.
Discussion? Roll call.
Just Sturgill, Phil.
You're voting on the amendment now,
Okay.
correct?
This is the amendment to, yes, this is the amendment to do items 1 through 5, yes. And then we'll vote on 1 through 5.
We're voting on the amendment. Roll call, please.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Fallis?
Support. Support.
No, we're voting now. We're voting.
That's a
That was a
yes.
yes?
That's an affirmative or yes?
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry. I'm using my console lingo. Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Demakia?
Yes.
And Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Okay, now we're going to recommend for approval.
We have to vote on the motion
We are
now.
now voting on the motion. We need a motion.
Right.
We have a motion to approve items 1 through 5.
Correct.
Discussion?
Question.
Question?
Through the chair to the treasurer, could you provide some clarity in terms of item number 3?
Item 3 is a standard routine annual event for the Lorain County Auditor needs to have the authority to levy taxes. And all school districts do this April, May of every year, sets you up for next year. And I wrote to you in my packet, I gave you the rates and whatnot. It's the standard package of rates we have on the package docket today that we're charging the taxpayers, and taxpayers are getting revenue, or getting revenue from. It's
This is not
status
really-
quo.
Is this related to any new tax revenue?
To what, sir?
Is it related to any new tax levies, or is it related to just existing?
This is nothing new. This is what people are paying today. It just gives the county authority to levy those taxes, yeah.
Okay. No further questions. Thank you for that clarification.
Call to vote, please. Roll call.
Okay, I missed the motion in the second, I'm sorry.
Roll call. We are voting on the approval of items 1 through 5, and this is the roll call vote for those.
I supported, and Mr. Sturgill made the motion.
Okay.
And then there was a discussion that we just had.
Mr. Sturgill,
Yes.
Mr. Demakia,
Yes.
Mr. Fels,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Motion to approve item 6.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Demakia,
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Fels,
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Okay, item 7 and 8 are tied together in that item 7 is the levy resolution, which would be for the earned income tax levy for August. And item 8 would be the board approving a 2 mil rollback on property taxes. Those two are tied together. If the board does approve item 7 and the voters do approve the earned income tax levy, then the 2 mil rollback would also kick in via item 8. So each resolution takes 3 votes. In item 7, what we do is, how this works is, we estimate the revenue, and the Ohio Department of Taxation figures out the income tax. That would be sometime next week. So this is step 1 of that process. It's called resolution of necessity. So the amount of revenue that I am recommending is $5,112,370. That's the gross amount of revenue when it's fully collected, which would be about a 1% income tax under the current assumptions. So item 7 is a resolution declaring it necessary to raise annually an additional amount for school district purposes and requesting the state tax commissioner to estimate the respective rates at which it would be necessary to levy an ad valorem property tax and a school district income tax to produce that amount. Once again, that would be for the August 2012 levy ballot cycle.
Need a motion, please?
Motion to approve item 7.
Second.
Discussion?
Is this a combination that you're going for?
No, this is a straight earned income tax levy, and then the board would take a separate action, item 8, to roll back the 2 mils on the property tax.
It says here to levy an ad valorem property tax and a school district income tax.
That's because what the Ohio Department of Taxation does, he estimates the income tax. I'm assuming it would be 1%. He also gives it the estimate of the amount of millage, property tax millage. That's how the law words the words in there. It is not a combination levy.
Well, Mr. President, I have a short statement, if I might.
Yes, please.
This is information from the Lorain County Board of Elections. There have been 10 Lorain County special elections in the past 10 years involving Lorain County school districts. Of the 14 issues on the ballot, only 3 passed. This represents close to an 80% failure rate. Between November of 2000 and December of 2011, Lorain City Schools has had 9 issues on the ballot. Only the renewals and bond issue for the building project passed. All attempts for new money have failed. The cost of a special election in August will be between $1,500 and $1,800 per precinct. There are 37 precincts within the Lorain City school area. In my opinion, levy issues stand the best chance to win when there is a large voter turnout. A presidential election, as in November, will have a large turnout. In 2000, 18,915 voters turned out, and in 2008, 21,604 voted. The additional operating levy lost by only 52 votes in 2008, and the renewal won easily in 2000. In 2001, 12,368 voters turned out, and the bond issue easily won. There are two possible reasons for that. Number one, that election was within 2 months of 9/11, so patriotism was extremely high. And number two, if we had failed to pass that bond issue, we would have lost $175 million of state money to build new schools. Because of the past records for special elections, the additional costs associated with special elections, and the better odds of winning in November, I would not be fulfilling my fiduciary duties to the citizens of the district if I voted to place an issue on the ballot in August. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
I've got a comment.
Please.
I'd like to comment on this resolution. I believe that it places our city collectively in an unfavorable tax climate. Currently, Lorain City's income taxes are 2%. Most cities are at that level or less. If we add an earned income tax credit to our tax environment, it'll place us up to 3%, which is probably one of the highest, if not the highest, in the state of Ohio relative to adding income and earned income taxes for school districts. So it creates an unfavorable environment for the working person in Lorain, or to attract those folks to Lorain. Our demographics indicate that we have a lot of folks in our city who are of retirement age or higher. And our city, in order to be successful for the long term, needs to attract the young working men and women. This would create an unfavorable tax climate for our city. So I'm not in favor of this resolution to move forward. And I wanted to articulate that position. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Vallis. No more discussion? Is there any more? Roll call, please.
Mr. Demakia.
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill.
Yes.
Mr. Vallis.
No.
Mr. Smith.
No.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Okay, item 8 is the board would take this action to roll back 2 mills in the property tax, and it's tied to the successful package of the earned income tax levy. So once again, those are tied together, and the board would take an action on an annual basis. Takes 3 affirmative votes.
Motion to approve item 8.
Second. Second.
Discussion?
Yes, I have questions to the chair, to Mr. Weber.
Yes.
It's my understanding that if we ultimately pass a resolution, that's not what we're doing here because it's linked to something else, but if we pass a resolution lowering by 2 mills the inside millage, that 2 mills becomes available to other tax districts to use. And if they qualify, it could mean that although property taxes from local homeowners going to their homes in Lorain would go down, another district could apply for up to those 2 mills, and in actuality, the property tax would not go down, it just would go to a different place. Number 2 is something called the 20 mil floor. Would you explain that, Mr. Weber?
20 mil floor is when your taxes fall to the 20 mil floor. That's as far as they can fall. We're rising. We've never been at 20 mil floor. We have been above it, and we're rising because our evaluation is falling. And your point is well taken, Mr. Smith. I know you were talking about regarding 20 mil floor. This would not move us to the 20 mil floor. And if it does move to 20 mil floor, that'd be the lowest it could be. You could not go below it.
Is the 2 mills under the 10 mil limit counted in the 20 mil floor?
Is the 2 mills in the, all our millages, the proper millages of the inside millage also is in that 20 mil floor calculation. But we are above, we're about 23 to 24 right now.
And then we would go to 21, is that correct?
We would go, we're 2 mils less than what we are today,
And
effective rate.
if all turns out well in this city, as we hope they does, property taxes, I believe, over the next 3 to 5 years, with a rising economy, will increase. Does that mean we would have to adjust our effective millage
We don't adjust it, the county auditor adjusts it.
under House Bill 920?
Right.
And if that adjustment of the effective millage, in conjunction with reducing the 2 mil floor, the 2 mil that we're voting on, took us below the 20 mils, then what would happen?
It can go no more than below 20 mils, that's it. as far
Well,
as
what
it
would
can go.
happen if it goes to 18?
It can't go to 18, it can only go to 20, what it would do.
And would that cause in any way an increase in taxes?
It would cause a stability in taxes,
A what?
a stability. It couldn't go below 20 mils.
Yes.
Right. It depends, if in rising valuation areas, if you're at 20 mil floor, it brings in more revenue for the school district. We are not there. Matter of fact, like I said a few seconds ago, we are above the 20 mil floor and we are rising, our effective rate is rising. It's because our valuation is falling, our effective rate keeps getting higher, further from the 20 mil
I
floor is what
understand
it's been
that, but
doing.
it could reverse if property values,
If property values were rising,
yeah, which is what we want.
it would take a number of years probably to get there.
Okay, but it could happen. So I have to say, there's so many unclear, unintended consequences that could happen if we did this. And what it would look like to me, and it gets back to Mr. Fallis's position, we're reducing property tax and putting the burden on working men and women who are already paying 2%. Now, the average income within the district, not the city, remember, the city is much larger than the school district. The average income, based on the State of Ohio analysis, is $35,000 a year. That means that $35,000 woman is already paying $700 in income tax. A 1% income tax would raise that to over $1,000. Thank you.
Mr. Fels?
Yes, I have a comment regarding item number 8. This particular resolution is reducing the millage by 2 mills, and that not only applies to the homeowners, but applies to a person who has commercial property, residential property, and if there's farmland in the city of Lorain. So what you're doing is you're reducing the real estate taxes for not only people who personally own homes, but businesses, and you're putting the tax burden on the working men and women in the city of Lorain. And that's, again, the person we want to attract to our city. We have an aging demographic, and I don't think this is the best environment to create to move our city forward, and I will not support this resolution. Thank you very much.
If I may, the reduction of 2 mills for the average Lorain homeowner would amount to about $50 a year. We're back to that $35,000 a year wage earner. It would be $350 increase. Also, the earned income does not operate like the city income tax. Corporations do not pay it. So as much as we appreciate U.S. Steel being in our town, they would not pay the 2% or the 1% income tax. Someone living in Lorain School District would pay it, but anyone who did not live in the school district would not pay it, even though they worked in the school district. So it is a different way to go at it. It's sticking the working man and woman with more money and reducing by a very minimal amount property tax, and would reduce our revenue by about, what, 1.3 million?
That's correct, roughly.
And so in order to make up the 1.3 million lost in property tax, Would it be fair to say that that has increased, that necessitates the increase of the income tax percentage? Or we're going to be in the hole?
No, if the levy earned income tax passes, we would bring in a gross $5,112,370, netted against the $1.3 million reduction. So you
Yeah,
have
but we have to make the 1.3 million we're giving back up somewhere else. Is that correct?
no, it would be 5.1 minus 1.3 is 3.8 net.
If we give up $1.3 million,
Right.
we're already headed for fiscal emergency. We already filed a recovery plan with a $4.7 million deficit. So if we're going to take it away over here, don't we have to make it up over here?
We are in the earned income tax.
And if we didn't do this, we could have a smaller income tax and still come out with the same amount of money. Is that right?
Well, you could look at it that way, sure.
Oh,
Okay,
well, how else would you look at it?
Gentlemen, the comments have been made, and I think everyone had a reasonable opportunity to express themselves. I will say this. We will provide, none of us are experts on this, so we're all offering opinions. So make sure that you hear us as unqualified opinions as it relates to what this specifically means in terms of revenue, in terms of cost. What we will do through the administration is we'll create a document that explains with clarity the bullet points of exactly what this revenue piece means. I will say this. At our last levy attempt, we passed a resolution to seek an income tax increase, correct?
At our last levy?
Yes, our last attempt. So this isn't anything new. This isn't the first time we've done this.
Right.
We've done this before, and actually it was kind of an experimental thing then because we'd never done it before. What we are doing is we are trying to shift some of our revenue so that it is not at all the burden of property owners who happen to be retired, and increasing them only is presenting a significant challenge in passing the levy, and there's great disparity in terms of who's paying what. This does distribute the cost throughout the district more equitably. Those individuals who are paying the income tax are not going to be paying additional property tax. So it's not folks doing two things. But again, none of us are really being able to present with clarity, I think, the objective pieces of this. So we'll make sure that board members have that. We'll make sure that the public has that, because we don't want people to be confused. This is not easy. We are trying to increase revenue in a time where economically it isn't feasible. Nonetheless, we must do it. We keep asking for money because we need money to operate. This is not going to eliminate our deficit. We will continue to work at that. We're not trying to jump out of the hole at one time. We're trying to dig our way out of this. So that's where we are. I think at this stage we can bring this to a vote. Roll call, please.
Mr. Demakia.
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill.
Yes.
Mr. Fellis.
No.
Mr. Smith.
No.
Mr. Williams.
Yes. Report recommendations of the superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. President. Item 1 is a discontinuance. Item 2 are new appointments, but these are replacement personnel for absent positions. And the majority of those are non-general fund expenditures. In fact, all but one. The only one that's a general fund expenditure is replacing a truck driver. The social workers were it's required to be filled by qualified social workers, and those two are qualified social workers and licensed. Item 3, leave of absences. Item 4, that's our tenure teachers that, according to Ohio Revised Code, have met all requirements to be granted tenure, and I recommend that. And item 5 is the appointment, also replacement of an assistant principal who came from an SFA position. That position was posted, and this person bid to that position and was placed at the high school, again, filling an open position. I recommend approval of personal items 1 through 5.
Motion to approve items 1 through 5.
Second.
Discussion? I would like to indicate, just for the record, that under the support staff, where those social worker positions are, at least one of those, if not both individuals, were presently employed in the district, but those grants were expiring, and these were new grants, I believe, Dr. Branham? So this we aren't bringing new people into the district with these.
That's correct. No.
I want to be sure of that. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Damachia.
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Fallis.
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Thank you. I will take items 6 through 12 separately. These are unfortunately, our reduction in force with an attachment to each bargaining unit, represented or non-represented, listing of names of those people that will be reduced in force. Item 6 refers to the LEA, Lorain Education Association. Item 7 is Lorain Administrators Personnel. Item 8, OPSI 120. Item 9, OPSI 377. Item 10, LACE Personnel. Item 11, United States Steelworker, or U.S. Steel Personnel. Item 12, non-represented staff, and the attachment A1. That's the listing in each of those positions. I recommend approval for items 6 through 12. Excuse me. We'll go down by item 6 first, LEA.
A motion for item 6, please.
Support. No,
Need a motion.
motion to approve item 6.
Is there a second?
Support.
Discussion.
I just want to add that I agree not with everything Mr. Wood said, but I do agree with a good part of it. It's a sad day.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Sturgill.
Yes.
Mr. Damachia.
Yes.
Mr. Fallis.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Move to approve item 7, LAA Personnel.
Motion to approve.
Support with comment.
Support and comment will come after the
After what?
discussion.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So support that motion.
We're in discussion.
Okay. I heard what Mr. Wood had to say about the Lorain City Schools and their teachers. And one thing I was really surprised at on my way home from work today, I heard on the radio that the United States of America ranks 36th internationally in funding for public education. And so I just kind of sort of have an appreciation for what Mr. Wood said. And we do have a funding issue in America. And this is not a good day in the city of Lorain, but it's something that we need to work on, certainly at the local, state, and federal level. That concludes my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
I have a comment, please.
Please, yes.
Well, teachers are vital to the district, and I've been around this district for the last 30 years and spent 12 years in it as a student. Some think I spent 20 years as a student, but it was only 12. And I know the type of people that make this district tick. Someone once asked me who is the most important person in a school building, and I said, depends. Depends on what? If there's a foot of snow on the ground and it's 10 above zero, it's the custodian. If there's a mess up in the office, it's the secretary. If there's something that doesn't look quite clean enough for our students, we can count on our cleaners. They're the ones that actually make the buildings look good. We are a team, and now that team is being broken up. And that is truly, truly a shame. It is not all it's nobody's fault, and it's everybody's fault. And it just breaks my heart to do this. And I wish we didn't have to do this, and I hope the day is not far off that we can turn things around. But it's not a good day. We're all important. Thank you.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
Mr. Demakia?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Recommend approval of Personnel Matters, item 8.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
Mr. Demakia?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Recommend approval of personnel items, item 9.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Discussion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
Mr. Demakia?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Recommend approval of item 10.
Motion to approve item 10.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Demakia?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Recommend approval under Personnel Matters, item 11.
Motion to approve item 11.
Support.
Discussion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
I abstain. I have a relative on this list.
Mr. Demakia?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
I recommend approval of item 12 under Personnel Matters.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Discussion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
Mr. Demakia?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Under Operation Matters, these are routine. However, I will list them and mention what they exactly are. Item 13 is entering into an agreement with MT Business Technologies for 5 years, mainly Ricoh copiers. Item 14, an agreement with the Cleveland Museum of Natural History for a science workshop in May. Item 15, an agreement with Mobile Education, a creative writing program that's also going to be delivered next month for students. Items 16 and 17 are our anti-bullying assemblies that we have annually. These will be done at the 2 listed buildings in May as well. Item 17, or excuse me, I did 16 and 17. 18 is entering into an agreement, campus impact, also an anti-bullying assembly. This is part of the school improvement grant. Item 19, an agreement with the Educational Services Center in Lorain to provide training and support and professional development to staff. Also, this will be done April through June this summer, spring and summer. Item 20 is a 3-day workshop that, again, Darrell Andrews Enterprises, Academic Enrichment Academy, also coming up in May. Items 21 and 22 are contracts with DJs for dances at the end of the year for perfect attendance. I recommend approval of operation matters, items 13 through 22.
Motion to approve items 13 through 22.
Second.
Discussion, gentlemen.
Yes, I would like to other than item 13, as Mr. Branham said, most of these are directly related to services to children.
Correct.
Most of them are coming out of grants.
Correct.
The DJs for the 2 schools is a general fund, but if our kids have done something to deserve something, they can. And I want to compliment, and Jeff Hawks, if you would take this message back to your department, to your boss, wherever he may be. I was a little concerned about item 13. It's a large item. It's a 5-year contract. It's a $128,000 per year contract. We're talking about more than $500,000 there. And I was just ready to pick the phone up to question this when I bothered to look into my board packet, and there was a complete description of all the bids, of all the procedures that went through that made sure this was the lowest, best deal we could get. It's with the company. How many years have we done business with them? 16? So the board was provided with detailed information on that large expenditure, but it was well done, so please pass that on.
Any more discussion, gentlemen?
I have a comment. Normally, when you look at a contract with someone over a 16 period, you might sit and scratch your head and say, time for a new party. But I'd like just to make a comment on MT. I had experience with them when I worked for a company here in Lorain, and they also supplied services to the city of Lorain while I was on council. And they've done an excellent job, and it's good to hear that they've done great service for the Lorain City Schools over the last 16 years. So I do, again, echo Mr. Smith's sentiments, appreciate all the financial information relative to your due diligence in selecting this vendor. Job well done. Thank you.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Demakia?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Fells?
Yes.
Mr. Lambs?
Yes.
Thank you. Under facility matters, there are 2 items. Item 23 is consider approval to abate and demolish the old Whittier Middle School building. And item 24 is to consider approval of an intent to award a contract for Washington Middle School site package. I recommend approval of items 23 and 24.
Motion to approve items 23 and items 24.
Second.
Discussion.
Both of these items fall under the Ohio School Facilities Project, in which the state will pay 81%. We would pay 19%. At this point, we're still just using the state money. It has no impact whatsoever on our general fund problems, and nor could we use the money for anything other than what the OSFC has directed us to do.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Fells?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Demakia?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. That concludes my report.
Mr. Superintendent, there is
Item
apparently a typo.
Typo.
That'll be corrected in the minutes, and
Yes.
because it is a continuation of 25,
It's a
or 24
continuation
rather.
of 24.
Okay.
There should not be an item 25.
Okay.
Treasurer, please note that, and we'll put that in the minutes. Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen. New business? And we have at least one probably committee report. I know the Facilities Committee met, I believe, on yesterday, and if we could have that report and any other reports from the board members would be appreciated.
The Facilities Committee met yesterday. Number one, we discussed the farewell to the former Admiral King. That will take place on February. That'd be good, wouldn't it? March 13th. Now, yes, I know you're going to say that. It's Mother's Day. May 13th. Did I say March? I'm lost. Yeah, well, it is. Except for the Ides. Ides of March is not good. Anyway, it is Mother's Day. It is the only day open to us. The following weekend is the prom, and we want students involved in this. And I believe, Bambi, the previous weekend is the golf outing?
Correct.
Or the day before, excuse me, yeah, the 12th. So that's going to be a lot of fun. The other discussion is regarding the design of the new building. Early stages of what has to be done so you know, every educator, every person in the school district has been and is being given a chance to say, what do you think we ought to have in the new building? That's not being done by us, it's being done by our architect. He indicated at the meeting that he feels by July, he will be able to come to the board with the first required board resolution, the first stage of the design process. So that will be at a board meeting in July. And other than that, there was no other discussion.
Thank you. The Superintendent Search Committee report, just based on what we've done and what we have coming up. Mr. Fallis, if you could, please, as the chair.
The search committee for the new superintendent met last week, and it was an orientation process where we talked about the process between now and August 1st, when we expect to hire the new superintendent, and what the process would be. We'll be working with the Ohio School Board Association. That will be our consultant, advising us on the steps we need to go. So we have a pretty aggressive timeline for that, and they have state experience in terms of facilitating that process. So we're looking forward to working with a great partner. Mr. Williams had done a really excellent job of selecting 7 candidates from the community to represent our diverse city. So we're excited about that.
Thank you.
And we're looking forward to rolling up our sleeves and doing our homework and due diligence to pass the baton from Dr. Brennan to the new superintendent of Lorain City Schools. That concludes my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fallis. And some of you know, some of you may not know, Mr. Fallis is chairing the search committee and is comprised of some dynamic citizens, some educators, some parents, and we feel real good about our first meeting, and I think we're off to a really good start. So we'll keep you posted on those pieces. Before we go to the hearing of the public, I will have a very brief statement. The two main issues that have been before us this evening, which are very challenging in their own respective rights. The first being the desire, the need, the process of trying to bring in new revenue to the district. Though we disagree on timing sometimes, we disagree on some of the specific methodology of how we get there, be sure all 5 of us, everyone sitting up here, agrees that the district needs new revenue and that we cannot function to educate kids effectively without new revenue. when you have the challenges that we've had, you begin to try and pull rabbits out of hats. You become very frustrated in the process, and in that frustration, there's always disagreement on how to do things. But be clear that the outcome, there is no difference between any of us. We need to bring revenue into our district so that we can do the best job we can of educating kids and strengthening the community of the Lorain city in which we live. So there is no dissension there. And we do appreciate and respect the different opinions that we have, because they're not easy choices. It's this or that, this and that, a little of this, a little of that. This is a bunch of throwing stuff together, trying to figure out between bringing revenue in, making cuts, trying to tighten up the waistband, trying to become more efficient. And it's nothing that all of us aren't doing in our own independent households, that we aren't experiencing in our own businesses, that the city isn't going through, the state, the nation. We are not isolated, we're not alone, we're not the only ones struggling. But we believe that if we're going to struggle together, we have much greater chance of success. This is in no reflection at all on the levy committee. I see heads shaking out there. Shake your head if you wish. But we're very serious, we're very engaged, we're very passionate, and we care. So I don't appreciate the head shaking, and I will make that comment. All of us up here are struggling to figure out how to get this done, and we need each other's help. Mr. Smith was absolutely correct. We have to work together. This isn't administrator against teacher, against board, against community. We've got to figure out how to work together, and we do it up here. You guys might see us dissenting on things, but we talk every day. We discuss these things, and we're trying to figure it out. So I respect and appreciate our differences, because I know we're trying to do the best thing for the district, and we will continue to do that, and we will continue working together to do so. And we will also, in terms of our leadership, expect that from others. We appreciate Mr. Woods in your position. This is very challenging for the hit that teachers have taken. Ultimately, we're going to still have to work together. We're going to still have to cooperate and try and get through this. So be patient with one another, challenge one another, but we need to get through this together. It's very sad to have to make these cuts. It's heartbreaking. It's, we don't like it. We're going to try and figure out other ways of doing things, but we're all struggling. And I think if I were to ask all of my colleagues, all of us could say with honesty, this is a struggle. And we'll try and get you more accurate information, keep you updated and posted. This does not, levy committee, we appreciate the work that you have been doing, that you're doing, that you continue to do. We will support you in all of that work. Though our vote was separate, that is not an indicator that we do not support the levy wholeheartedly, 100%. So don't interpret our vote pattern as an indicator that we do not support what the levy committee is trying to accomplish. Thank you. And at this stage, we'll have, and of course, it wouldn't be reasonable for me to make a comment like that and not allow other board members to address if they so desire to. If not, we will move forward with the second hearing of the public. Please come to the center podium if you wish to make comments. Those should be directed towards the board. Please be respectful and courteous. Observe the time that is indicated, 3 minutes per person. After you have made your comments, you can head over to the podium over here to my left, your right, and there's a place where you can write your name, your address, so that we can follow up with you with answers to your questions. Again, this is the second hearing of the public. If that is no hearing, I guess we can announce the next board meeting.
Mr. Williams, if I may.
Yes, please.
We will need another board meeting before May 9th, because the process with the levies is that tonight is called a levy of necessity. We'll give it to the Ohio Department of Taxation. He will certify the dollars, property tax dollars, the income tax dollars, I should say, and the rate. They'll come back to us, and the board will officially put it on the ballot with a second resolution prior to May 9th. And we'll also choose a duration of the levy at that time, too.
Mr. Smith, you have a calendar, as he always is prepared.
I have a calendar, and I say just move the next meeting. I hate to have another.
Right.
I don't want an extra meeting. That's $625 every time we sit down up here. Not each, by the way. So why not have the meeting? Dale, what date If we had the meeting, the normal meeting would have been the 10th.
Would have been the 10th.
If we had the meeting on this Monday or Tuesday, which,
I prefer Monday, but we can do Tuesday.
okay,
I mean, at the
I'll
latest.
leave that to the group, but
I'd say Monday in case something happens.
Okay. So Monday the 7th? Gentlemen, off the top of your heads, is Monday the 7th at 6:30 here?
Monday, May 7th is fine.
All right.
that would be our first meeting of May, and it's not it'd be a special meeting, but not an extra meeting.
Correct.
Okay.
So we will have not an extra meeting, but a special meeting, which will be on Monday, May the 7th, 6:30 p.m. here at Jacinto. Do we need to motion that or just announce it? Is that all we have to do?
Not sure we are.
Pardon?
Do we need a motion for that announcement?
Yeah, we do have to set it as a special meeting.
Yes, so we
I don't
need-
think we have to vote on it. You can do that.
So it is set as a special meeting, and
We have to vote to cancel the regular, though, I think.
can I now...
Why don't you just make a motion to do one and the other
Yeah,
vote?
can I have a recommendation to cancel the regular meeting on the 10th and replace it with a special meeting on the 7th?
So move.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill,
Yes.
Mr. Fallis,
Yes.
Mr. Demakia,
Yes.
and Mr. Williams.
Yes.
And Mr. Williams, before we adjourn, I just think it's necessary to mention that if folks are looking for a reason to vote yes for the levy and also see the great talent that our children have in the school district, they're putting on the all-city musical Willy Wonka over at the Lorain High School auditorium that starts in about 25 minutes. So if you need something to do tonight and tomorrow, please go support our children at the all-city musical, and hopefully maybe the media will go and cover it and put something positive in the paper for Lorain City Schools. That's all.
Yes, and my daughter is,
And if you're late, you'll be dead.
yeah, you know that. All right, may I adjourn the meeting, please?
So move.
Did we get a vote on that?
What?
Did we already vote? Yeah.
For what?
No, we didn't.
No,
Yeah,
we
we
didn't
didn't do a
vote.
roll
That's
call
right.
vote.
You're on
Sorry.
the ball. You're on the ball.
Thanks, Jim.
Maybe.
Roll call vote for our meeting change.
I'll second it.
Wait, we
Demakia was the first vote.
did it already. We canceled May 10th.
Right.
We got a May
voted?
7th. We've done it.
We
that
didn't
was-
take the roll
But
call
we
vote,
didn't
though.
vote.
Yeah, we did.
We did?
Okay, well then,
Jolly good.
we're done.
Motion to adjourn? Vote. Roll call for the motion for adjournment.
We're done.
Who made the motion to adjourn, please?
Did we vote?
The motion to adjourn was made by who?
Was made by Mr. Smith.
Who seconded?
Second, Mr. Sturgill.
Okay, Mr. Smith,
You said, yes.
Mr. Sturgill,
Yes.
Mr. Fallis,
Yes.
Mr. Demakia,
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes, thank you.
This has been a production of Lorain City Schools, TV20 WLCS.
To purchase a high-quality copy of the program you just viewed, please call Lorain City Schools Television at 282-8400.